Let's go out now to our reporter standing by in Moscow, Idaho. Police say they're now examining areas up to 30 miles outside of Moscow, trying to find clues. So that's somewhat of a development today. We're going to be joined right now by Fox News multimedia reporter Jake Goncalves outside of the police station there in Moscow. So, Jake, they've expanded their search. Why?
Well, Andrew, they believe that valuable evidence could possibly be in an area outside of Moscow, and investigators have been asking for surveillance video in Troy, which is about 12 miles east of Moscow, and Kendrick, which is another 12 miles about roughly from Troy. And a gas station employee in Troy said police asked him for surveillance video, but his store didn't have a camera facing outside. And we're going to show you some video that was shot near Phil's Family Foods last night in Kendrick. Police reportedly asked the store for surveillance video from November 12th through November 14th. And the murders of those 4 University of Idaho students happened on the morning of November 13th. So far, there's been nothing in those videos to help police, but Moscow police say that obtaining as much video as possible is their best bet at making a breakthrough.
Just consider how much video there is to collect and what you would think of to do, and that's what they're doing. Any surveillance video we have is definitely part of what is moving us forward as far as progressing in the investigation.
And Andrew, police today say they're still looking for the occupants of that white 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra that was spotted near the scene on the night of those murders. And police say there are over 20,000 registered cars in Washington state and Idaho fitting into that criteria, and they're getting tips on that Elantra from across the country. Andrew.
So, Jake, I don't know if you can offer any reporting on this. Fox News and Fox News Digital have been kind of providing us windows into, the thinking of some of these grieving parents, and they're quite upset with the lack of information that the police have been providing, and so there's been a lot of testy and fiery rhetoric from them. No doubt they are experiencing something they never thought they would be experiencing. Have we heard from any of the parents or the family and friends of some of these victims in the last, week?
So, Andrew, I have not heard from any of the parents or friends of the victim. Did talk to some students on campus this week before they left for winter break who are feeling a little better, a little, safer with this, what they say is an isolated incident over a month out. At least that's what they're hoping. But the parents have been saying some things, and it's just been a slow trickle of information coming out within the last day or so. We've learned more about the car with that 20,000 registered cars that fit into the criteria of what they're looking for. Again, today talking about police expanding their search. It's just little baby steps in this investigation. We'll see if there's anything that leads to a breakthrough coming up in the next few days.
And Jake, I also had a quick question. And maybe, when you see some law enforcement officials there in Moscow, you can maybe ask them, we're now a month removed, or a little more than a month removed, since the stabbings took place. For them, I'm curious, why do you think it took so long to maybe, come up with these ideas of, surveillance video in the area from nearby gas stations, other establishments, to go and collect that? What do you make of that?
Well, Andrew, what police have said this week is that there's just a flood of tips and information coming into them every day that they have to sort through. They have to kind of figure out, what is a good tip and what isn't, and separate that. On the good tips, try to follow those. So it's just that flood of information coming in that they're trying to sort through, and then figuring out slowly, okay, where are we looking? Do we need to look more outside of Moscow? Can we look at that gas station? Can we look at Phil's Family Foods where they might have something? We saw the other day that a gas station here in Moscow had an image of what looked like a white sedan, similar description to the car that police have been asking the public for information for several days. So it's kind of organizing all of the information that they have coming in and figuring out what the next steps exactly are that they need to take.
All right, Jake Goncalves there live for us in Moscow. Jake, we're going to be checking in a little bit later tonight, so we'll talk again. Thanks. Okay, in the meantime, we do want to let you watch and listen to the latest update put out by Moscow law enforcement officials on their YouTube and Facebook pages. It's about 1:30, but it has kind of what Jake was describing about the voluminous number of pieces of data and information that they are pouring over to try to get a break in this case. Let's listen.
Students are returning home for winter break. Does that present challenges for the investigation?
I think it's always a little bit of a challenge. We went through this, right after Thanksgiving and all that, but we have investigators all across the nation. We have investigators all across the state with the state police and the FBI, so we'll adapt to that and we'll continue to do our investigation.
What about investigators? Can they keep up this investigative pace over the holidays?
We will continue to keep up this pace. We're giving individuals time off when they need it. We're augmenting other people into those spots so that the investigation continues, but we're not going to stop investigating this.
What kind of progress has been made regarding the search for information about the white Hyundai Elantra?
We have looked at massive amounts of video footage, especially in the critical camera areas, and we've looked at the 24 hours prior to and 24 hours after of those, and now we're extending that out even further to other cameras and other time frames.
What kind of manpower does it take to really deal with all of the video coming in and the tips?
We have massive amounts of people looking at this. Multiple different groups looking at the different videos in different locations, just because we have investigators all across the nation that are reviewing these videos for us and sending us back information on that.
Okay, that was Moscow Police Chief James Fry there with a very, very brief update on what some of the procedures in the investigation look like going forward. I just want to put up this map yet again that we referenced in Jake Karalexis's report about how the search has been now expanded, somewhat of a 30-mile radius there, as investigators are asking for surveillance video in both of these locations. They're in Kendrick, Idaho, south of Troy. They're looking for surveillance video from a Phil's Family Foods, from that store on the night of the murder when that happened. And then they're also looking for more information in Troy as well, 12 miles east of Moscow, for surveillance video there. And we also just want to put up a statement from Moscow police, that accompanied this video statement by Chief Fry today. They say, quote, "After sorting through the majority of the digital content gathered from critical cameras during crucial times before and after the homicides took place, investigators continue to comb through hours and hours of digital content submitted by businesses, homes, and the public. The investigative pace will not slow down for the weekend or the holidays, and the departure of University of Idaho students returning home for winter break is not expected to cause any slowdown in the investigation."